this is the village of, well, South London, or what would be the area just south of London Bridge. Now, at the moment, we have ourselves a little mine, as well as this bar being made to store our items, and the king's ready working all that out. And we're actually going to need a massive amount of wood, so I've been tasked by the king to look for the nearby forest, or the forest edge at least, past the marshes, and that will be where I build this lumber camp. So I'm going to build it here in this lovely bit of wood. And over here, actually, if I construct this lumber camp, we will actually be given a NPC, and that NPC will be selling us wood as long as we have coin for it. So it saves us a lot of time trying to collect resources if we just have the coin to just buy the resources from them. So that's why these builds are really important for that matter, especially for builders, but for people that don't want to grind too much as well and just want to build or roleplay or whatever else on the server. Anyway, while all of this land is getting cleared in the following time lapse, I'll tell you a little bit more about the builds itself. So the building, the lumber camp itself, it's one of a required build. It's a functional building, so that means it requires a certain amount of quality for it to be approved by staff, and when it's approved, you'd be given a reward for it. Some builds even require other builds to go along with it. So, for example, the crop farm also needs the lumber camp to have been built as well beforehand. So that's why the lumber camp's so important. It doesn't need any other buildings to be built before it, so it's good enough on its own to start off with. So a lot of players like to start with this as their first build, but there are a couple other buildings as well that could be made first. So at the top of this hill, I'm putting the huts for the labourers, or the woodcutters, because they don't want to be at the bottom on the river shore, because it could flood and they don't want to be sleeping in water. So I build these sort of like small size huts. While it is a camp, it's not necessarily tents. They do live fairly comfortably inside, and it would get quite warm if there's multiple people living in it. Although we're a bit constrained for space because it is Minecraft after all. Nevertheless, I just give them simple wooden roofs and a pretty simple shape. On the inside, I give them a basic bed, a table, firewood storage. I would like to use a candle, but I didn't have that on me at the time, so I just used a torch. And then outside, I connect them all together with a nice little like porch yard area of sorts, and we'll have a nice like communal campfire too, with seats and the likes. And that's where I'm putting like details here and there. It gives it a lot more life to it, as if it could be lived in, and it makes it a little bit more cozier as well, you know. On the right here, we've also got a wood cutting area so that they have firewood for the fire, getting a few fences around so nobody accidentally, if they drank a bit, they don't fall down. And oh, what's this actually? There's a man actually coming up the hill. Well, this actually turns out to be the butcher in the local London town area. Well, the farmhouse is there anyway. And he's offered me some meat, and he's actually made me a sword, which is very nice. So Ollie here has given me a nice sword, which is a bit difficult to make, especially at the start of the game. So this is really quite thoughtful. I'll use that to great effect, hopefully, against some bandits and whatnot. Anyway, I'm building this path all the way down, and this is where I'll eventually build like a jetty or port, and it makes it easier for me to come to and from this camp. And also, if I happen to go past it and I'm trying to look for it, it makes it very obvious as well to see it, because there's this great big like bright path and a jetty coming out, which makes it easier for me too. Anyway, halfway through, we have ourselves a yard as well, and this is where they'll be mostly cutting and refining the wood, making it into like usable construction materials, not just firewood, but actual building materials that you use to construct big wooden buildings and barns and the likes. This is why the crop farm actually needs a lumber camp, because it needs all that wood for its barns, for its feed and its granaries and the likes. and other buildings as well required the lumber camp too. I ran out of reed fences, so I went to the local marshes and then went all the way back and used them, so I can now finally finish just the edges of these roads. Using hedges might have been nice, but I wanted it to look more rugged. And also, as I was building, towards the end actually of building it, I noticed there was somebody actually in one of the houses, and I was curious to see if it was a bandit or a raider, but turns out it was actually the King of England, and he was just coming to visit. Turns out he wasn't actually just visiting, he was actually looking for coin, and he took his coin for tax and he went off with it. He said he would pay me anyway for completing the build, but fair enough, it's a peasant's lot. Anyway, I built the jetty and everything seemed to be complete. Now, it did take me quite a while to build this. Of course, it's all in survival, and it's all expected of players to build it in survival. But it would be a lot faster if you built it with other people. I, of course, built this on my own. And there are smaller builds as well. This is one of the large-scale builds, which isn't really that big. But hey-ho, I finally completed this this building, and I'm now going to go head back to the village, South London, and I'll see if the king will reward me. But yeah, it's a long journey back, so I'm just going to talk a bit about what these videos are and what my goal is, I suppose, with them. So, of course, it helps to explain the sort of like quality requirements or the sort of like examples that can inspire people to build these things on our server, but it's also to like reveal what our server is actually about, and it's about recreating like the high Middle Ages, the 13th century, and all the fun, like interesting, intriguing politics around that, going to wars and building big cities and being really immersed into the gameplay. And as a reenactor, it's been really fun being able to show off the history in such an interactive way, even though it is all just blocks and stuff. We've really tried a good effort to make sure all the arms and armor are accurate and things such as that. Anyway, I'm back in London, and I've let the king know that his lumber camp is complete, and he's given me some coin for the work, and London is bustling pretty well. It's got 4 players at the moment, but hopefully more will come later. And I'm finally paid, and there's my coins as well. So, that's all there is to that. But anyway, if you're interested in joining us, the links to the Discord will be in the description, and you can download a mod through the CurseForge page as well. But anyway, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Anyway, take care.